Welcome on in. Join me courtside as we talk your Miami. Oh, man, I can't even pretend today. All right, guys, I want to thank you all so very much for joining me for another edition of Miami Heat Basketball Beat. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and we're coming to you just moments after the Tuesday night game, January 6th, where your Miami Heat took on the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minneapolis, and this one went very similar to the Saturday matchup between these two teams just 4 days ago, as we had the Minnesota Timberwolves take this one down 122-94, and this was pretty tough to watch, although we got off to a very fun start. It looked promising. I thought we learned some lessons from the last game, however, did not end up that way. Before we get into the rundown here, let's break down just the setup of this game. We had your Miami Heat coming into this game at 20-16 in 7th place in the East, tied with the Orlando Magic, against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 23-13, 6th in the West. And once again, Jaime Jacquez was not available for the Heat, as this is his second consecutive game he's missed with that twisted ankle that he suffered in the last game against the Minnesota Timberwolves this past Saturday. But we did have another player come back and return to the court. We had your all-star, Tyler Herro.
Welcome back.
Made it back onto the court, but he did not start the game. He was our first reserve off the bench today, going back to his sixth-man role, which honestly I kind of in favor of overall, just based on the personnel we have and where our redundancies are. All right, let's get right into the game here. This started off with such promise. Our first quarter here, we had Powell once again start 3 for 3 with 2 for 2 on three-pointers. We had Bam Adebayo look like he learned some lessons. He was taking Gobert off the dribble with a nice layup, but that would be very few and far between. We'll break down that in the highlights section a little bit later. And our first subs of the game were Herro and Jovic. Well, let me just break down who the starters were once again. The same starting unit we've had over the last week or so with Davion Mitchell, Norm Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, and Kel'El Ware were our starters, with Tyler Herro and Nikola Jovic was our first reserves off the bench. They came in at the same time. And I'm not sure what time they came in at. I didn't write that down there. Let's just say about the 6-minute mark, give or take. And Tyler Herro came in, was not hogging the ball at all, but was very efficient. Started off 4 for 5 between the first and second quarters of his first-time action. And after the first quarter, your Miami had a slim 2-point lead. It should have been bigger, but Naz Reid made a near-buzzer three-pointer in the corner to shrink that lead from 5 down to 2. But Powell started off in the first quarter with 8 points. Kel'El Ware with 4, Adebayo with 4, Wiggins with 3, Herro with 3, Drew Smith made a 3 as well. Nikola Jovic had 2 points, started out with 2 turnovers right when he got in the game. Pelle Larsson had 2 points, and Davion Mitchell only had 0 points through the first quarter on 0 for 3 shooting. Most of the highlights we're going to go through here, some are lowlights in there as well, is from the early in the second quarter, so I'll break those down a little bit later. But at the end of the first half, the Heat were down as they gave up 34 points to their 25 in the second quarter. And going into the break, it was 61 for Minnesota and 54 for your Miami Heat, with Powell at 13 points, shooting 3 of 5 from three-pointers. He was doing what he does. Herro had 10 points, like I mentioned, shooting 4 for 5 from the field, including 1 for 1 from downtown. Really got active on the boards with 6 rebounds, although he did have 2 turnovers and was a -8 in that first half. Wiggins had 10 points, got off to a nice start there as well with 2 block shots, and he had 2 for 3 from downtown. Pelle Larsson chipped in with 7 at the break with 3 for 5 shooting. He made a three-pointer, although he was -9 through the half. And Ware and Adebayo had 4 points apiece in the first quarter, finished that same way at halftime as they both missed all of their shots in the second quarter here. Ware did finish the half with 8 rebounds, while Adebayo finished with 6 rebounds. Smith finished with the same 3 points. Jovic added a free throw, but was shooting 1 for 5 from the field. And Davion Mitchell continues to struggle. He went into the half at 0 points, now shooting 0 for 5. All right, in our third quarter here, guys, man, this is where it really turned. It was already going bad in the latter part of the second quarter, but this third quarter was atrocious here. Minnesota makes 3 straight three-pointers at the end of the third to extend their lead. At the end of 3 quarters, Miami had 77, while Minnesota was at 93. They outscored them once again, 32-23 in the third quarter, taking a 16-point lead in Minnesota into the fourth quarter. Let's break down some of the stats at this point, as this will be the last time our main players will probably be in the lineup here. Through 3 quarters, Norm Powell had 17 points on 50% shooting from downtown, but he was one of our plus players in the first half, and now he's down to a -7. Herro started getting a lot more shots up in this third quarter. He's at 16 points on 7 of 13 shooting, 1 of 2 from downtown, up to 8 rebounds, but he was a -13. Wiggins stayed at 10 points. He really didn't take any other shots after the first half. Jovic was up to 9 points, however, still shooting 2 of 7. Had 2 turnovers, did get a hand on the ball for 2 blocks, but he was a -14 at this point. Larson still stuck at 7. Adebayo added a 3-pointer late in the third quarter, but now he's at 7 points, shooting 3 for 11. Let's see. Let me see what I have here real quick. Let me go back in time. I don't have how many shots he had in the first quarter, but he had 4 points in the first quarter, 0 points in the second quarter, where he shot 0 for, let's just say 0 for 2 in the second quarter, and now he shot 1 for 6 in the third quarter, and that one was a 3-pointer. He is up to 11 rebounds, and then Ware wasn't doing anything either. Didn't even take a shot in the third quarter, still at 4 points, but he had 8 rebounds there as well. Mitchell finally got on the board, but it took him a lot of shots to get there. Davion Mitchell at 4 points through 3 on 2 for 10 shooting. Not good enough. All right. Now going into the fourth quarter here, Spo changed his rotation here, as usually he sits Norm Powell and Bam Adebayo to start the fourth quarter and bring them in that range between 7 and 5 minutes left for the home stretch. But noticing this game was slipping away here, he changed things up. He went with Davion Mitchell, Norm Powell, Tyler Herro, Nikola Jovic, and Kel'El Ware were your starting players in the fourth quarter. But that group was totally ineffective, and it wasn't that Minnesota was taken off here, but just Miami could not score. Minnesota was on a 5-0 run, but that was over 3.5 minutes, just showing you how both teams weren't scoring here. Miami only scored 2 points in the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, only 2 points, and then they got a free throw later from Tyler Herro on like a take foul. So at the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter, Minnesota had outscored your Miami Heat 10-3, extending their lead up to 23 point now. And it's safe to say here that Rudy Gobert just dominated Ware in the fourth quarter. Spo waved the white flag with about 4.5 minutes left when the score was 110-82 at that point. Bam didn't even touch the floor in the fourth quarter, and your final score was Miami 94, like we have up here, Minnesota 122, and Minnesota outscored the Heat in the fourth quarter 29-17. So our end of the game stats for our main players here: Powell finished with 21 points, 3 for 6 shooting, a -19 as he was on the floor for that first 7 minutes or so of the fourth quarter when this really got away from them here. Herro finished with 17 points, made that one free throw I mentioned. That was his only fourth quarter points. 7 of 15 shooting, 1 for 4 from downtown. Did he up to 9 rebounds, but he was a -25 was Tyler Herro. We'll talk about him a little bit more. I don't put that all on him, but nonetheless, we have to put it out there. The fact that he was a -25. Wiggins, who had 10 points at halftime, stayed that way, didn't play in the fourth quarter as well, I don't think. Did I say he started? No, I don't think he played it on the fourth quarter either. Nikola Jovic had 9 points, finished with 9 points, shot 2 of 8 from the field, 3 turnovers, team high or team worst, -26. Again, he's always one of our worst, if not the worst, in plus-minus. Larson played a lot on the fourth quarter as well, as he was the first sub in when they took out Davion Mitchell. But he too had a tough night tonight, finishing with 7 points, 3 of 9 shooting. Adebayo, who didn't play in the fourth, finished with that 7 points, 3 of 11 shooting, but did have 11 boards. Ware was not any better, 3 of 10 shooting on 7 points and 11 rebounds. Davion Mitchell finished with 4 points on 2 of 11 shooting. And Drew Smith did not play at all in the second half. When they did wave the white flag, they left Kel'El Ware out there to finish the game. He played the entire fourth quarter, getting ragdolled by Gobert while he was in. But the last 5 players was Ware, Simone Fontecchio, Kashad Johnson, Myron Gardner, and Kasparis Yakachonis. So Spo waved the white flag way earlier than I've ever seen him do it. But honestly, this game was not going to turn around at all here. All right, so ending this game here, Miami falls to 20-17 as they lose 94-122. Minnesota improves to 24-13. And last game, it was Naz Reid was the big player off the bench, or the role player who really stepped up. This time it was Jaden McDaniel, who had 19 points with a lot of dunks, a lot of back cuts to open dunks here. And Gobert finished with 13 points. And let me just scroll over real quick. 13 points and 17 rebounds. He was plus 20 was Gobert. He was really dominating here. Anthony Edwards had 26 points. Not very efficient, but again, he's always going to get that 25 points or so. But they just spread it around with DiVincenzo getting 12 points, Julius Randle 15, Gobert with 13, McDaniels we mentioned had 19, and Naz Reid had 14 points. And that was the majority of their point scores there, mixed in with some of their garbage guys at the end of the game. Being that there's not a lot of talk about here, good in terms of this game here, we're going to get to our little highlight package, and there's some lowlights in here. Let's just do it real quick, and then we'll get away from this game in particular. We'll talk a little big picture here with Herro coming back, rumors of trades out there with Trae Young being very accessible to get. We'll talk about that a little bit here, as this game was not too fun to reminisce on. But I do want to go over some of our highlights and lowlights, like I said, as again, this game started off so promising, and we'll show you where this started. And then, of course, you see where this game ended. All right, our highlight package today starts off with, let's see if I can get this rolling for you guys. All right, as we have this one here. Oh, hold on one second. All right. All right, if you see it there, we're going to show it one more time here. This is early in the game. Miami got off to a great start. We mentioned Norm Powell was 3 for 3 from shooting, including 2 for 2 from downtown. Both our big men scored 4 points in this first 6-minute stretch here. But let's rewatch this play as you have Bam Adebayo matched up against Gobert. And this is what we're talking about, guys. Bam is so versatile, and he's just not doing what he's supposed to do. And I thought he learned his lessons from last game. Look at him. He's got Gobert guarding him out on the perimeter, and instead of taking a jump shot in his face, which is what he did later in the game, he's like, I got the speed advantage. I'm going to take this guy. Look, it looks like a parking cone. He goes right around him all the way to the other side of the basket for a nice left-handed scoop layup there. A nice play to get up to a 9-point lead, 19-10 for your Miami Heat. And I swear I thought that Adebayo was learning some lessons. And then later in the game, he would just do a jab step, one dribble to a set shot with Gobert in front of him. With the long arms, can reach and disrupt that shot. You've got to do 2 to 5 dribbles to get around Gobert and leave him in the dust. One dribble back and forth is not good enough, as he can extend those long arms and make up the little bit of space you might create on a one dribble move. All right, let's keep moving along here. Our next highlight here is Tyler Herro making his first three-pointer in his return here, as he goes down to the left corner, I believe. A hit-ahead pass by Davion Mitchell had 9 assists, even though he struggled from the field, did have 9 assists today. And Tyler Herro makes his first three-point attempt of the new year, I guess, really. So he was 1 for 1 from downtown at this point. I'm not sure how many shots he made overall up to this point, but a nice three-pointer there as well. And now, if you know this show, listen, I listen to all the same shows you guys might. I listen to Locked On Heat. I listen to the Miami Heat Beat. I listen to Tobin on WQAM. And I don't know what it is, but these guys just like to, I hate to even curse or talk suggestively here, but they seem to suck off Nikola Jovic, and I'm sick and tired of it. I don't see the value in this guy overall, regardless of the numbers he puts up. And we're going to show you here, as he has no ability to finish in traffic, as he doesn't know what he's doing. He flails, can get bumped off his spot so easy, and I'm going to show you a couple of those right here. Miami is now down 29-30. Here we go. Let me pause real quick. What do we got here? We got Pelle Larsson. Oh, no, that's Jovic. That's Jovic the whole time. Going into Naz Reid, thinks he's going to take him. Watch this. Just throws up the ball as he trips. He can't take any contact. He can't go through contact. He's one of the weakest players in the league. And I hate to talk so bad about it. He really is. You can bump him off his spot. He doesn't finish through contact because he one bump and they're not going to give you the call. I mean, he gets to the free throw line sometimes because he's so goofy, but he can't finish through contact. If they don't call the fouls, he's not going to score in a crowd here. Let's watch this one more time. It's just pretty embarrassing. He's dribbling down. He's like, I'm going to take this guy. Gook. Just throws it off the backboard. And then it starts a fast break the other way. That's the worst part about his flailing and misses, is when he shoots these three balls and even these flailing drives, they start fast breaks to the other team. All right, moving along here. Let's have a little bit of a better play here. Again, a similar part of the game here. Now we're down 32-29. You got Tyler Herro working at the top. Gets a little stuck. Pass to Drew Smith. A nice secondary pass. And then a swing out to Pelle Larsson. That looked nice there, guys. I like that. We got Pelle Larsson making his only 3 of the day. And what I don't like is what Herro does a lot. He over dribbles a little bit, but not too much. He doesn't go back and forth. He goes back and forth once. When he sees he doesn't have the shot, sprays it to Drew Smith, and doesn't just sit out there, makes the back cut. That's the best part of this play by Tyler Herro, is the back cut after the pass off, combined with Drew Smith making the quick pass back to the cutting Herro. Look at this. Bam, that's great. And then a swing out as he gets the rotation help on the bottom, wide open 3. Tie game at 32 early in the second period here. All right, it's time for another flail here. Let's see what we got here. All right, we got Tyler Herro bringing the ball up on the left side. You've got Pelle Larsson doing kind of a curl move here from the center of the court, going to go to the left corner. And we've got Wiggins in the bottom right corner. I'm not sure where our 5th player is. If he's in the left corner, probably there's someone in the left corner there. And then Jovic on top of the right 3-point line. All right, let's see what we got going on here. We got Herro again over dribbling, using a little bit of a pick, rejects the screen. Oh no, this is the wrong player that I was talking about. This is Herro with a nice driving layup. I kind of missed that one. We'll watch this again. So we got Herro up top with the ball here. You've got a screen coming from Pelle Larsson. He rejects the screen. Well, I don't know why Highland gave Drew Smith so much credit in the corner there, but due to that, we got a wide open drive for Tyler Herro to get this to 34, to give us a lead back, 34-33 by Herro. So well done. Again, all his points and assists got us tied up here. All right, this is one of our flails. Again, these all are back-to-back-to-back. Heater up 35-33. Must have made a free throw in the intermediate here. What do we got here? We got a nice contest by Jovic. I'll give him that. Straight up and down. Kel'El Ware gathers the ball, gets it out to Herro, who is running with Pelle Larsson. I like this. Let's see. There's 4 guys. So this is a 2-on-1 break with Larsson and Tyler against Anthony Edwards, who's retreating fast. You got DiVincenzo in the pursuit here, but at the moment it's a 2-on-1 break, and they're both going fast. He pulls up, he stops, lets the defense kind of double Larsson there, maybe for a potential pop 3. He looks at it as they rotate. He sees Jovic coming in from the left top here. He's going to have a full head of steam. This is going to be a monster jam by Jovic. Oh, you know how that's going to end. It's not going to end with a monster jam, but let's just see what happens. You got Jovic at full speed coming down to a flat-footed defense down there. Let's see what he does. Goes up for the dunk, and boom. Before he even gets to the rim, flies out of his hands. Maybe he was fouled there, but again, it's because he can't absorb contact and hold on to the ball at all. Here we come. Full speed. Jovic goes up. Whoop. Can't handle contact. I just do not like this guy as a player. I know I may be a little strong here. I may be a bit of a hater, as you guys might notice, but it's just, I can't stand it over and over again. He gets the ball dislodged as he drives in, throws the ball away, dribbles off his foot the very first time he comes in. And we're just going to continue the Jovic bashing here because that's what this show is all about at this point in the season. All right. This game was a disaster, but let's take a broader picture here. Let's look at the forest through the trees, if that's the saying. All right, one of a couple things I want to mention. This is the beginning of a 4-game road trip. We just played against this team, and we had the very same result as we do not match up well against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We want to run because we're not good in the half court, and they are really good at controlling the tempo with isolation players like Randall and Anthony Edwards, mixed in with a Gobert, who is a monster as well. A monster as well, dominating Ware and Adebayo, which is pretty upsetting. So obviously this team is not a good matchup for us. 2, we talked about this 4-game road trip. Really, we want to go 2-2 to be all honesty, as we're playing Minnesota on the first game of the 4-game road trip here, and Oklahoma City on the last game. So those are 2 elite teams. Both those teams were in the Western Conference Finals last year. Our team is not nearly that good. We're just trying to play with beat the competition that's worse than us, and we're doing pretty good at that, at beating teams under 500. But we're also pretty bad at beating teams over 500. So we just got to beat up on the rags of the league. Hope that we can make some improvements roster-wise, because this roster is what it is, guys. It's good enough to beat the bad teams. It is not good enough to really play with the elite teams. But this win was a scheduled loss. Not a scheduled loss in terms of being a back-to-back, but we're definitely not as good as the Minnesota Timberwolves. We do play Chicago on Thursday night. That is a must-win to help us get to to aim for a 2-2 road trip here. And it's gonna the odds of us beating OKC are slim to none. So we've got to take advantage of the games against Chicago in Indiana on the middle part of this 4-game road trip. All right, let's talk a little bit we got to talk about some things here, not because of this game, but because of the timing of things around the league here. All right, first, I want to mention Jaime Jacquez was out once again, and I've been mentioning it. He honestly is our offensive identity because we do not have a half-court team here, and he is someone who can actually turn the half-court set into a little bit of a transition as he plays high near the midcourt line and gets a running start even on swing passes. So it almost turns our half-court game into a mini transition as we get rotations and 3-on-2s and 3-on-2s and 4-on-3s in the back half of the paint when he's in the game. So missing Jacquez, which is pretty sad to say that Jacquez is our most important player, but it's true, and we're missing him today. But we did have Tyler Herro come back, and I know there's a lot of haters out there. I don't hate Tyler Herro. I think he's actually a really good player. I just think he's misused and sometimes miscast. I love the fact he came off the bench today. Not that I think he's a bench player, but I think you need a true point guard in there. And if you keep Davion Mitchell and then you bring in Herro, then you lose a lot of defense on that between Powell and Herro. So I really do think you have to split those guys up a little bit, at least to start the game here, and so you can hit some other rotations where maybe those are your two guards only for a couple minutes. Like Minnesota, they don't play Conley anymore as a starter. Pretty much Anthony Edwards is their point guard. So the Heat have tried that with Herro. He can't do it, at least not in long stretches. So I do like either him or Powell coming off the bench. And honestly, the way Powell's been available this year, he's honestly earned the starting job at this point. I'm not saying it's going to stay that way over the course of the year, but I like that Herro came off the bench. He didn't seem to have an issue with it. He came in, was very effective, shooting 4 for his first 5, but you could see over time it looked like his legs were getting tired as he was starting to miss more and more shots. And then in that first part of the game, I thought he was doing really good of getting the ball, seeing if he had something, if not moving it, as opposed to dribbling all over the place, up and down, back and forth. So it was kind of a hybrid from his worst tendencies to what the Heat's best at when they're at their best in the fast mode here. So I thought he didn't slow down the game at all. You saw that pass to Pelle Larsson when he got to the middle and sprayed it out there. You also saw that was the same play where he did the back cut. So he was moving. I think as he got a little more tired and worn down, he went back to his old ways here. But they were also, the Heat were struggling so bad to score that I think he's like, I got to do it. And he was getting some good looks, just like, again, he was a little off with some of his floaters that he normally makes. He's missed a lot of time, so I'm going to give him grace on that. I don't think he tried to take over until it was clear that no one else was going to help out at all. So I'm not gonna rag on him too much here. But I will say this in terms of the team. This roster, although they've been more fun than I'd admit I thought they would be going into the year, depends on what our goals are here. They're too good to lose, so we're not going to get a good draft pick, but they're not good enough to win against elite competition, especially in half-court style games. So we do have to make some moves here on this team. Right now, the Heat are about $1.7 million under the luxury tax. I want to remind you here, the Heat will not, no matter what you think about Wales, about Giannis Antetokounmpo, Anthony Edwards, Trae Young, and to lesser extents, Anthony Davis, any of these guys, no matter what you think they're going to do, they are not going to take on more than $1.7 million more than they send out. You have to realize that. That's why I hate when I listen to some of these shows like again, I'm a fan of Locked On to a point, but over time, I'm like, what if we go for this guy? I'm like, they're not going to do it. The Heat can improve while trimming salary. We've seen that's what makes them such a good front office overall, although they haven't been doing it as much over the last 2.5 years. But their pedigree is improving while saving money. But just keep in mind, they are not going to add $1.7 million here to their team more than they already are right now. So if they're going to make trades here, we'll get into the trades a little bit later. I do want to mention one more thing. The Terry Rozier This is his last year of his deal. I don't have the numbers here. It's about 26.7 million. I'm guessing a little bit here. And he does have a little bit of a weird structure where only 20, I'm rounding numbers here a little bit. Only 25 million of that is guaranteed. So the deadline would be Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. If they waive him by then, they're still going to pay him all of his money here, but another $1.5 million will come off the books. So a good indication of what their plans are in terms of making trades will be determinant of what they do with Terry Rozier. For example, if they think they can only improve their team with signing free agent guys, maybe signing two-way players to guaranteed contracts, then they would waive him, get the extra $1.5 million to have $3+ million to play around with, to just pick up buyout candidates, people that are not in the league right now that are free agents that you can prorate their minimum contracts. If they keep Terry Rozier through 5 o'clock tomorrow, that is a big indication that they may be looking to use his salary as trade filler here, because he has no value to the team. He's not playing, right? So his value is either to save a little bit of money by cutting him, or to use that money as a trade filler here. And honestly, I'm hoping that is the case, because that I feel like that $26.5 million is worth more in a trade, and trying to get a trade done, than the 1.5 or 1.7 million that you would save by cutting him here. So we're actually rooting for them not to cut him tomorrow. If you are a Heat fan looking to improve your team, as it gives them more avenues to improve their team throughout the year here. Keep in mind here, they're going to have to make a trade if they want to improve here. And this has been a stopgap first half of the year. Just see what they have. But in my opinion, these guys are not future players for the Heat here. If you know me, Jovic, he's got to go. I'm not going to trade him for peanuts, but now he is also a salary filler. So that you have 26.5 from Rozier, although I don't think Jovic's extension money kicks in this year in terms of salary filler. So I'm not sure how that's going to count right there. So he's probably still in his rookie deal for this year, which is probably like $4.5 million, give or take. But even so, with the 26.5 and 4.5, that's $31 million. And then if you add someone like a Herro who's making 27, 28, or if you add a Wiggins who's making 31, now you're getting up to that 55 million mark, which is what the top players are making in the league here. So it's going to be a combination of those type of players, where Jovic is more of your prospect you're sending out, fine by me. And then Terry Rozier is your salary filler, and then your quality player would be a Wiggins or a Tyler Herro, or even a Norm Powell. They can do that as well, or even a Davion Mitchell. These guys can be traded starting January 15th, so keep that in mind as well. And as much as I like Davion Mitchell overall, he's really been struggling. And the way I look at it here when it comes to players that were willing and not willing to trade, would you be afraid of seeing Jovic on another team when you play against them? That's the way I look at it here. If you're playing against Portland and Jovic is on that team, are you terrified that Jovic is going to beat you? I'm not. Davion Mitchell, if he's playing for Dallas, as much as I like Davion Mitchell, I'm not actively looking to get rid of him. But would you be afraid if Davion Mitchell was on the Dallas Mavericks the next time you play them? I wouldn't, for example. I mean, again, he's more of a fan favorite. You got to think about stuff like that. Are these guys are really going to hurt you here? We have our old school guys like Gabe Vincent. Do they scare you? No. Max Strus? A little bit. He scares you a little bit. Duncan Robinson? He scares me a little bit. Those are guys I don't want to see go. But does Caleb Martin scare you? No, especially not the way he's been playing since he's left the Heat, for example. So you got to think about it like that. You have to give something to get something. And when it comes down to it, are these guys going to be Heat killers once they leave your team? So keep that in mind. So we're watching out for that 5 o'clock deadline tomorrow for the Terry Rozier, whether he's waived or not. I'm hoping they don't, to have more flexibility in getting the bigger fish. If they waive them, they're going to get smaller little minnows to improve this team for the rest of the year. All right, we rambled a little bit here. Tough night for your Miami Heat. Lost by 28 points to Minnesota, but we don't have to see that team anymore unless we make the finals. And again, obviously, we're not a good matchup against that team, but we don't have to see them again. We do have 2 more winnable games this week. Let's hope for that. Let's watch the trade market, as there are players getting out there. Trae Young, for example. We'll talk about him next time, as we're already a little bit over time. So with that being said, guys, may you please make your free throws. May your coaches' challenges be successful. We will see you next time.